The new expansion, Ashes of Outland, is right around the corner. With that, Blizzard announced some massive changes to Hearthstone, the new set, new mechanics, a new ranked system, and even an entirely new class. There are, however, some changes that a lot of players may have missed on their first inspection of the patch. All of these changes missed by players are way more important than any of the other changes. In fact, these changes are even more important than adding an entire new class to the game. These adjustments will without a doubt make the game more enjoyable for every player without any exceptions. In the upcoming patch, there will be a massive change to the rush mechanic, deck slots, and even a new game mode. These changes will go live later today alongside the new ranked system. Today we're going to talk about all of those changes and how they will directly affect the balance of the game. Before we get into it, make sure to subscribe to the Tempo Storm Hearthstone YouTube channel for more awesome YouTube content on your favorite Hearthstone-related topics. Now let's take a look at the huge patch in more detail. As we mentioned before, this patch will introduce 3 huge changes to the game. There will be a rework to one of the mechanics in Hearthstone, upcoming changes to the interface in order to make sure Demon Hunter is properly implemented, and an entirely new game mode for all patrons of the tavern to play in. In the newest patch coming to Hearthstone, we will be receiving some drastic changes which will shake up the game in many ways. Along with the introduction of Demon Hunter comes not only a lot of cards, but also a lot of mechanical changes that were needed. One of those cards, Kane's Sun Fury, allows all friendly attacks to ignore taunt minions. This card allowed the Blizzard team to reflect on the versatility charge minions have inside of Hearthstone. As of the April 1st patch, Blizzard is entirely revoking the rush mechanic in favor of charge. All minions with rush, such as Ziliax, Faceless Corruptor, and Scion of Ruin, will now have their text say charge. There hasn't been a proper rush card printed since Knights of the Frozen Throne, and the development team felt like they had a lot of lost time to make up for. On top of this, rush really limited the player's options within Hearthstone. They could really only attack a minion on the board when first played. Now that all rush minions have charge, players are given the extra option to attack their opponent's face over one of the minions on the board, adding to the decisions being made by each and every player. Players can now choose between the order your minions hit face, whether to play another card before hitting face, or even which order to hit face in. The decisions are endless. The balance team discussed that games were taking a bit longer than they had previously expected. The hopes are that minions having charge over rush will not only introduce some new aggro decks, but also decrease the time it takes decks to get to their win conditions. Decks like Galakrond Warrior will now hopefully finish the game by turn 6 or 7 instead of 8 or 9. Let's be real though, you don't really need Galakrond to win the game anyway. With the removal of Leroy Jenkins from Standard, it also led to the need for more charge minions to replace this powerhouse of a card. Blizzard didn't want players missing Leroy too much, so instead, they have given us a plethora of new charge minions. This leads to an unprecedented change and could lead to even more drastic changes in the future. Potentially in upcoming patches, we could even see the removal of Taunt from the game. Taunt really constricts what you as a player can do. If Taunt were to be removed, there would always be multiple decisions for your attacks instead of just one minion. So along with the balance changes being made, there are some interface changes coming to Hearthstone as well. Adding Demon Hunter to the game's display really took a toll on the great aesthetic Hearthstone used to have. Before, there were 9 perfect classes, creating a beautiful 3x3 box. Instead of trying to force the 10th class inside of this 3x3 box, there will now be a scroll bar taking you to another screen where Demon Hunter will cover the entire page. This allows for both the 3x3 box to still exist and have Demon Hunter in the game. This addition also makes it easier for newer players to find where the Demon Hunter class is, as we all know every player will only be playing Demon Hunter upon Illidan's launch. Unfortunately, this did not come without a cost. Hearthstone's client can only handle so many different scroll wheels. As for now, players will have to go back to only using 9 original deck slots. This change was to allow for Demon Hunter to adopt the scroll wheel on the class selection page. Some may say that this is honestly a buff because players may lose track of how many different Demon Hunter decks they've built anyway. Lastly, Blizzard has announced a whole new mode for players to enjoy. In this mode, you will be asked to build 3 separate decks from 3 different classes. This is almost how it works in a tournament setting that players compete in from time to time. Once those decks are built, players will be placed into a 128 player bracket, similar to how a tournament may be set up. Players then face off in a best of 3 set to determine one final victor over the whole bracket. One of the cool aspects of this new mode is it allows you to ban one of your opponent's classes, kind of like you would in a tournament. Each best of 3 match advances you closer and closer to the final match against a worthy patron of the tavern. This new mode is going to be called Fun Mode. The fun mode was designed to allow large groups of players to play against one another in a contest of skill to determine who is the best contender once and for all. This spectacular event might remind you of a tournament, but you'd be wrong. So make sure to grab 127 of your closest friends to compete in this thrilling new way to play Hearthstone. Over the years, the Hearthstone team has added some pretty crazy changes. Today's patch marks one of the most epic overhauls Hearthstone will most likely ever receive. Charge replacing Rush, a brand new mode, and some small, very minor UI redesigns to better enhance the overall experience. Hopefully, the addition of these changes will entice new players and old players to return to Hearthstone for a phenomenal year of the Phoenix. Time will tell if these are the changes that will push Hearthstone to be the card game to beat over the next decade. The next question to be asked about these changes is, are you prepared? Thanks for checking out all of these balance changes coming to Hearthstone in the near future. If you think there were any other changes that should have potentially been made, make sure to comment down below what they could have been. We would love to hear what you were all thinking about these shakeups. As for now, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the Tempo Storm Hearthstone YouTube channel for more updates on everything Hearthstone related. One last friendly reminder, make sure to try out the new cards for the other 9 classes and try not to exclusively play Demon Hunter on ladder. Playing mirror matches all day may not be good for your health. Thanks for watching.